What is up, YouTube? It's Zombie back at it again, and today we're going to be talking about something a little different. We're going to be talking about the top 5 weirdest, strangest starting rooms in the history of Call of Duty Zombies, all the way from World at War to Black Ops 6, but I'm not probably going to talk as much about Black Ops 4 or World War 2 because I didn't play those games much, but that whole era is included. Now, the first starting room on the list is Nuketown from Black Ops 2. There's never been a space in a map that has been so open, but so close quarters at the same time. It's a pretty large starting room, but it's also cramped. There's not a lot of space to run around and train in here. Another weird aspect of this starting room is the fact that there's a 3,000 point debris. I'm not going to call it a door because it doesn't lead to a separate area really. It's debris in the middle, and opening it takes you inside of the truck that's contained in the spawn area, and inside of there you can find 4 wall buys. You can find claymores, the Bowie knife, Semtexes, and the AK-74U for some reason. Now, Nuketown Zombies is definitely one of those maps where its only reason to ever play it is to just test your skills. You know, if you can get to round 50 on Nuketown Zombies, you are a good Zombies player. Same thing with like 5. If you can get to round 50 on 5, you are a good Zombies player. But yeah, this one isn't crazy weird, but I think it is pretty weird by Treyarch Zombie standards in terms of starting rooms. But anyway, next on the list at number 4, I'm gonna go Die Rise, again from Black Ops 2. Now, for some reason, this starting room only has the Olympia, not the M14. You have to open the first door to access the M14. Also, Quick Revive is not in this starting room. You have to open a door to access Quick Revive as well. Now, this starting room is pretty small by any map standards. It's a pretty small starting room. On top of that, there is a broken elevator to the side of the starting room that if you go down it, you cannot get back up unless you do a whole loop around the map. And another cool thing is at the bottom of this elevator is this little hallway that takes you to where the power is, and the only time you can access this little hallway is whenever you take the elevator down from the spawn room. There's no other way to get back here. Another interesting thing about this starting room that makes it stand out is the fact that parts for the trample steam can spawn in the starting room. And the only other Black Ops 2 map where there's parts in the spawn room, well, one is Origins and another one is Transit. But yeah, Die Rise, pretty weird starting room. Not too much to talk about though. But moving on to number 3, we got Ascension. Now, there's only one main thing about this starting room that makes it worthy of this list, and it is the giant spinning centrifuge in the middle of the spawn room. Not only can this thing kill zombies, but it can also kill you. It can damage you. This can be the most terrible way for your game to end if things go wrong. Now, honestly, aside from that, there's nothing too special about this spawn room other than its 2 stories, which is not crazy, but it is of cool detail that this starting room has. And this is also a large open starting room as well. It's not good for training, but it is a large spawn room. It has 2 doors you can open to take 2 different paths to get to the power, and it does have Quick Revive, but it's just the giant spinning thing that makes it special. Now, moving on to number 2 on our list, we have the Tomb. I know this map is the newest map, but there are some strange things about the starting room in this map. For one, it is massive. This is a massive starting room. This might be the single biggest starting room we've ever seen in a round-based map in the history of Call of Duty Zombies. No exaggeration. On top of that though, there is the PhD flopper machine in the spawn room. Out of all of the perks that could have been in the spawn room, why PhD? It's such a strange choice by the developers. It feels wrong. It feels wrong. On top of that though, we have a box location in this spawn room, which is not too crazy. You know, many maps have had box locations in the spawn room. But we also have a pack-a-punch location in the spawn room. Now, obviously, you can't access it until you open up more of the map and get more done in your game, but just the fact that the PAP can spawn in the spawn room is crazy. On top of that, there is an arsenal machine in the spawn room. Now, it's obvious what they were doing here is setting up the spawn room so you can spend like 7 or 8 rounds in the spawn room racking up points before you progress through the map, and that's also made obvious by the fact that there is a tier 2 armor wall buy in the spawn room. Now, if all of that wasn't crazy enough, perhaps the craziest part of the spawn room is that opening one door to make your way out of this room is gonna cost you 2,250 points. Jesus. That's a pretty weird spawn room, It's probably the weirdest one we've seen in recent years, but it ain't the weirdest. Coming in at number 1, the weirdest spawn room we've ever seen in the history of Call of Duty Zombies is Buried. Now look, whether you hate Buried or you like Buried, you gotta admit it has a very unique starting room. For one, you spawn on this elevated platform that has a area underneath it with a giant hole in the ground. You also have a cliff that you can fall off of into a giant rift in the ground. There's no quick revive in this spawn room. You have to leave the spawn room to get to the quick revive machine. On top of that, this spawn room is the only part of the map that's above ground, almost like the tomb. This is the only part of the map that's above ground. Another thing about this spawn room is that this is the only Victus map where you have more than just the Olympia or the M14 in the spawn room. You also have the LSAT. You can get the LSAT right off the rip if you get a good jump and then you run really fast to the wall by. For 2,000 points, you can acquire the LSAT LMG, but on a map like Buried where you can just run to the bank and spin the box infinitely on round 1, it doesn't really matter. On top of all this though, this spawn room perhaps has the craziest visuals in terms of the skybox and just what's outside of the map of any map in Call of Duty Zombies history. I love just looking out into the distance in this map and just looking at the visuals of it. Perhaps the craziest thing that this map does though is the only way to get back to this spawn room after you leave it is to literally break the fabric of space and time and teleport by using a broken fountain or something. I don't know. I don't understand how this shit works. It makes no sense, but it's cool. And Buried's a cool map with a very unique starting room. So guys, that's my thoughts on the top 5 weirdest starting rooms in the history of Call of Duty Zombies. Let me know in the comments if there's any that you would have put on this list that I left out. Let me know what other top 5s y'all would want to see, and just thank y'all for watching. If you want to support the channel, like the video. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. Peace.